before I talk about this brand new Fujifilm GFX 100S, we should talk about the first GFX 50S, 50 megapixel, which is pretty good at that time as well. But then that one is quite big. I kind of expected at that time because you think, oh, it's medium format. Actually, that camera feels like a medium format camera as well because the back stick out a lot. It's like it got a film back or digital back. And then later they released the 50R. They managed to stretch everything into a rangefinder style body, still 50 megapixel, still medium format. And then later, of course, they released a GFX 100 megapixel. Like, what? It's a little bit bigger. Well, not a little bit. Actually, as big as those flagship DSLR. But now, GFX 100S, they managed to stretch everything into this. This is just like a DSLR or even like a mirrorless camera size body. How did they do that? It's still 100 megapixel. But first, I have to say first, this is a prototype camera, so things are not final on this camera. The firmware is beta. I'm not looking into image quality because it's not final. So, but we will look into what has Fujifilm confirmed and how does it feel using enhanced. They don't just make it smaller. If we look at the spec, it is actually better than the bigger brother GFX 100, the more expensive bigger GFX 100. It just doesn't make sense. What's the catch? For the first thing about this GFX 100S, when you pick it up, when I pick it up, is that I feel like it doesn't feel too much different than a DSLR or even a mirrorless, especially the weight. The camera itself, the camera with battery, is just 900 grams. It is just 10 grams more than 5D Mark IV. And this is actually lighter than Panasonic S1, the full frame camera, but this is a medium format camera. The grip is pretty good, it's pretty comfortable, and the thumb rest here is a really stick out thumb rest. So when you grip it, it's really tight, it's really secure. Really tight, really secure. So on the top, as you can see, there is a huge LED display on the top. It's always on LED display. The camera is turned off for now. And you can see all the information as well, especially you can check the battery because for mirrorless or even a lot of DSLR, you have to turn it on to check the battery level. Not this one. Interestingly, this tells you it is still in a beta firmware because it next to the battery icon, there's a letter R. Because on the GFX 100, you can put two battery inside the GFX 100. But now here, it's only one battery. It still tells you it's the right side battery. So that's funny. They clearly haven't updated this. Now it looks really great. Black background, white text, and you can change it to white background, black text as well if you want. But this looks good. It is really clear in a sunny day, and when it's dark, it could be a little bit dark, but then there is a light you can turn on. It just feels like a G-Shock Casio watch. And this looks like a lot of other cameras as well. It's not too Fuji-like because this is a modal, PASM modal. Personally, I feel quite sad about Fujifilm going back to use PASM modal. I always like aperture range, I like shutter speed dial. I don't really like this, but it kind of, you can argue this is more practical because you can really easily to change mode. The back is nothing really special. It's got a tilt screen, tilt up and down, and then tilt sideways, so you can do portrait mode. When you use portrait mode, you can still tilt up the screen. It got a joystick here, and then this is really convenient to change to AFC, AFS, and manual focus. And then on this side, dual card slot, really important. Both are SD cards, so yeah, really great. For this side, mic jack and headphone jack, so this can do video, 4K video on a medium format, 100 megapixel camera, just like the GFX 100. And then here you've got USB-C, HDMI, maybe this doesn't not on every mirrorless camera. It's a flashing port. That's great. Especially to a USB-C. This time you can charge the battery inside and power the camera while shooting. That is really great. Talking about power, this use a new XT4 battery. Well, I almost forgot to talk about the hump here. This is a really obvious thing. Before that, the first GFX, the GFX 50S and the last GFX 100, they both have a removable viewfinder. This is fixed. It still looks the same as the other two, but this is fixed this time. I guess it makes the camera a little bit smaller like that, rather than have some mechanism to slide in and out. And this camera rates for 460 shots on one battery, which is not bad at all. And the whole camera is made in Japan. The camera and the lens are both made in Japan. It probably doesn't really affect the quality of the camera, but it just feels more value for money, isn't it? It's made in Japan. But yeah, you can argue that is it actually medium format, because people say, oh, usually medium format is bigger than this. This is not medium format. Well, definition, I mean, it's bigger than full frame, so they can call it medium format, or Fujifilm simply call it large format, because for video camera, this is considered large format. So yeah, why not? But there's something no argue about is 100 megapixel. Photos from this camera, actually the width of each file is 11,648 pixels. The width, 11,000. And I can say they successfully achieved one thing, is that when you're using it, it doesn't feel like you are using a medium format camera. This just feels like using any other mirrorless camera. This is brilliant. I mean, use a medium format camera, 100 megapixel, you would use it in studio. You can use it for landscape or artwork. It is good enough to use for street photography. I mean, it's small enough, and then the auto-focusing is not slow at all. Actually, since the GFX 100, it already has backside illuminated sensor. Both also has phase detection autofocusing, 425 AF points. GFX 100 was the first GFX to have phase detection autofocus, and it works well. I tried it last time. And this time they actually put it into this much smaller body. Looks like it is as good as the GFX 100. It works so well even on this prototype. Even on moving subjects. Also, same as last time, 5 FPS burst. I don't know, can you hear that? But you probably can't, because the shutter noise is really quiet. I have to get it so close to the mic. That's really light, and I don't feel much shutter shake. Now I'm using electronic first curtain. It is so quiet even for a full frame camera. If you use mechanical shutter only, it's a little bit louder, a bit more shutter shake. For medium format camera, this is a lot. This is quite amazing. Of course, you will argue that, oh, it's not medium format, it's smaller than medium format, whatever. The top LCD screen is really great, because especially when you're shooting on the street, if you want to check the settings, you just stare into the top LCD screen. Is so big, the letters, the digits are so big, rather than you have to look into your screen and then look at that tiny little digits. But one thing I find it weird with this camera is the shutter button is really light. It's really, really light. You just basically rest your finger on it, it's already focused. And then you apply the same force as other camera for autofocusing, it already take a photo. I'm not sure, is it because this is a prototype or will they change it later? But on this one, yeah, it's too light to me. Now there are two things really amazing, really unexpected from the last time GFX 100 was that it shoots 4K video, a medium format, 100 megapixel format camera shoots 4K video. I lost my voice as well. And also it got in-body stabilization.
In-body image stabilization.
What the hell? This one also got in-body stabilization in this size. Finally, I find something different between this and the GFX 100. Now this do 6-stop in-body stabilization. The GFX 100 only do 5.5 stop. This is the crazy thing about this camera. I keep thinking this is smaller, this is cheaper, it must have something that's less good. Instead, the in-body stabilization actually better. 6 stops versus the last time 5.5 stops. And also this can shoot 4K as well, also like the GFX 100. 4K, 4K 30p. Internal you can do 10-bit 420 and externally you can do 10-bit 422 as well. When you shoot 1080, it can go up to 60 FPS. And also it got a tally light. I mean, other brands should follow this. It's just so simple. It's just using that AF assist light is already there. There's nothing to add. Just use that as tally light. It also has all the film simulation or the eternal simulation. It can shoot HLG, and now I'm shooting F-Log internally as well. Now this is in-body stabilization only because the lens doesn't have stabilization. This is a 50mm equivalent to full-frame 40mm. It's a bit tight for this kind of video, and that's why it's quite shaky. What's more, the last GFX 100 only shoot 4K continuously for 60 minutes. This one, 120 minutes. 2 times more. What the? Now one thing really important is the price. This is just $6,000 US. Just 6,000, but because this is a medium format camera, especially this is 100 megapixel, it brings the 100 megapixel camera to a really much more affordable level. Especially the first GFX, the GFX 50S was more expensive than this 6,500, and that's just 50 megapixel. This 100 megapixel. So this is all we know for now about the GFX 100S and what it feels like in hands. This is still a prototype. It performs so well, I feel like I'm just using any other mirrorless camera. It's smaller, lighter, cheaper than the last GFX 100, but it still shares most of the same specs. Same phase detection autofocus, same focus point, same burst rate, even have a better in-body stabilization, and it shoots 4K continuously for longer, 2 times longer. Really, the only thing I can find that the last GFX 100 was better is the vertical grip. It takes 2 batteries and a higher resolution viewfinder, 5 million dots versus 3 million dots on the new 100S. So that's all for now. At last, I'm happy to introduce to you Storyblocks. Storyblocks has video, has music and images all in one site. Of course, it has stock video. Wow, that is a really good time lapse. Even motion graphic backgrounds, stock music and sound effects. Also stock photos and illustration, vectors, graphic all in one site. Just one single subscription, all you can eat. So check out Storyblocks with the link in the description down below. And this camera weighs for 406 Fujifilm. Like, I don't even want to argue with you about is it medium format, this is large format. Deal with it.